Welcome to Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The talk of the Keys, the 1st of June already. Here it is, almost halfway through the year. First day of hurricane season. We'll be talking about that a lot as time goes on. We're going to get right to the mayor of Key West, though. It is Mayor Denise Didi Enriquez with us. Good morning, Mayor. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday. And thanks again for joining us on Friday from Blue Marlin Jewelry. You are very busy doing all kinds of appearances as well as governing as well. So we do have the state budget. Hopefully will be signed. It could mean some good things for the city of Key West.
Oh, yes. So if the budget is signed, we got some potential good news. But like I said, we have to wait, make sure governor doesn't veto anything. But I believe months ago when we talked about our trip, when we went to Florida Keys Day and went up there to represent the city of Key West. We went in there looking, asking for $1 million and potentially coming back with 11 million. And we got word that out of that 11 million, we could potentially have $7.5 million. So I am so excited and very pumped about that. Going in there for $1 million and coming home with 7.5 potentially. Is very exciting. And again, that's about building those partnerships and relationships with our leadership up there in Tallahassee. So hopefully nothing will get vetoed. And if it doesn't, then we're looking at 7.5 million.
Good. That could be very good news. Well, we have a busy week here closer to home as well. Meet with the mayor starts things off at 2 o'clock today. And then a pretty full slate of meetings throughout the rest of the week, leading up to a city commission meeting on Thursday.
Yes, so please come on down today, meet the mayor, open hours 2 to 4. I would love to hear from everyone, their concerns, ask any questions you may have. We will definitely get you the answers. So I'm always excited about our 2 to 4. And then on Tuesday, we do have our public meeting review for the draft of the 2026 through 2030 strategic plan. The purpose of that meeting is to present the commission's strategic priorities. And that is going to be at 2 o'clock at the Frederick Douglass Community Center. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday is the building department quarterly stakeholders meeting starting at 7:30 in the chambers. The contractors examining board meeting, that's at 3:30. And then on Thursday is our commission meeting starting at 9 a.m. And then it will reconvene again at 5 p.m. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. And then Friday, we have our early bird cleanup. And actually, I'm not even sure where that's at. So I'll look that up for you really quick. But we do have our early bird cleanup. It'll be on our website. And that starts at 8 a.m. Now, Saturday is a full day Saturday. So it's the first Saturday of the month, the household hazardous cleanup and e-waste collection starting at 8 a.m. at Indigenous Park. Truman Waterfront Community Garage Sale, Junk in the Trunk, starting at 8 a.m. as well until 1 p.m. at the Truman Waterfront Park. And then we also have the Way Gay 5K Run. That starts at 8 a.m. So there's a lot of things starting at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. And that ends, it starts and ends at 22 and Company, which is 504 Angela Street. Mm-hmm. And there will be a lot of rolling street closures throughout the race, so be prepared for that. And then on Saturday, we have the Key West Pride Street Fair that will begin from 4 and end at 9, located on Duval Street between the 7 and 900 block of Duval. And then starting at 7 p.m. is the Key West Pride Parade that's on Sunday. Sunday is the parade. And that starts at 7 p.m. down at Truman Waterfront. So there's a lot going on, especially on Saturday and on Sunday.
Yes, indeed. Key West Pride Weeks is this week, I believe, starting on Wednesday as well. So that'll create an extra busy weekend in the city also. And so pivoting back to the city commission meeting, if we could, looks pretty full. A number of different items will be discussed in the morning and afternoon session. Anything that you would like to highlight there, though, because there's a lot to pick from.
Yes, there is. So it is a full agenda, but there's only 42 items, and that does include the proclamations, the commendations, the presentations. So, but there are a couple items that will be discussed. First of all, we'll highlight Tony Michelle Gage of 40 years of dedicated service to the city of Key West. She will be retiring. So we're going to do a commendation for her, and then we're naming, hopefully with the will of the commission, Fire Station 3 to the Edwin Eddie Castro Fire Station 3. So we'll see what the will of the commission is on that. Item number 27, which is recommendations of the grand jury report. So there'll be discussions, I'm sure lots of discussions on that. Item 28, Commissioner Carey has an item on the agenda to make sure that the buoy will return and remain at its historical location. So it hasn't moved. It's still there. It's just boxed up and protected right now. But she wanted to have a resolution out there to make sure it goes back there and painted on both sides. So item number 29 is going to be discussions, lots of discussions, I'm sure, in reference to the southernmost point plaza. So we've received a lot of emails. We've had a open neighborhood meeting to have input. So be aware of item number 29, because I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion for that. And then item 31 is approving the new liveaboard dockage lease agreement for the liveaboard tenants at the Garrison Bight Marina. And then just so everybody knows, item number 32 has been withdrawn, and that was relating to the fire assessment roll. So that will not be on the tax roll this year.
Okay. And again, it's Mayor Denise Didi Enriquez with us, Mayor of the City of Key West. And there will be just some discussion, apparently, with item number 27 regarding the grand jury. That's just an ongoing discussion that will be taking place at City Commission meeting as well. So we'll talk about that next week and see what transpires. And then we have a special session back on the state level, state legislature today, whereby the governor has gone back to the well and really wants this property tax reform to be discussed and possibly move on to a voter referendum. So it'll mean a number of implications, especially for county and city governments, some of which are not so favorable.
That is correct. And as you know, and we talked about this a little bit on Friday, how property taxes was very near and dear to my heart. So I am definitely watching this very, very closely. Yes, the homestead exemption threshold would go from $50,000 to $250,000, and like you said, that will go on a referendum on November ballot if it does get approved by the House and the Senate. And I will tell you, that's approximately 60% of Florida homeowners that would no longer pay property taxes. And if he had to raise that to $500,000 for homestead exemption, then that would be like a 92% of Floridians that would not pay property taxes. So we're going to be watching this very, very, very closely. Also, he did discuss about the small businesses, where each year it's a 10% increase. He would like to decrease that from 10% to 5% for the small businesses. And it's just, I don't know how we're going to do this if property taxes get eliminated completely, even though whatever we have remaining will be for the schools and the fire services and police services. So we'll see how all this works out, but it's going to be the will of the people in the state of Florida.
And it does put certain restrictions on funding that can and cannot transpire as well. So we're trying to sort through some of those categories and stipulations as well. Lots of implications. At first, it may sound very attractive to the average voter, but we are determined to dig deep into this with your help and the help of others, just to make sure that the public does understand the full implications and what this can mean possibly to our way of life here in Florida. Not to overstate that, but there's a lot of implications that these reductions could have on how we are able to run things here locally.
That is correct. You're taking the authority from the local level and shifting it to the state. So the people in your city or in your county will not have a say-so because it will no longer be here controlled by the city and or the county.
Well, we still have a say-so with Meet with the Mayor today at 2 o'clock. So at least that continues. Mayor, I know you have a very busy Monday to get to. We always appreciate your time and your willingness to have discussions with us. Is there anything else we should mention before we let you get to a busy day?
Nope, just I want to keep continuing. Save the date, June 27th. We're going to celebrate the 250th birthday. So every Monday, I will remind everyone that we're planning a big celebration out there at the Truman Waterfront Park. So please save the date, June 27th, 6 p.m. Big celebration for the 250th birthday.
Yes, parade, concert, bounce houses, food. It's going to be a big gala, so we're looking forward to that. Thank you, Mayor, for being here again today, and wonderful to see you. We'll remind folks that they can see the Mayor and our discussions on Keys Living TV, locally channel 27, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock today on Roku streaming and app at your app store, Keys Living TV for your smart device. Thank you again, Mayor, for all that you do, and we'll talk very soon.
Thank you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Take care. It is Mayor Denise Didi Enriquez with us, Mayor of the City of Key West. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. And back in the newsroom, AJ, I'll let you do the control here at one as we go to commercial break and then come back with Corey Suizzo. He's Director of Emergency Management, Monroe County. He's up next on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys.
Hey, Key West, Danny Hughes here from Two Friends. Really from Two Friends. So Maura and I were sitting at breakfast in the bar, listening to live music at 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. She's about to enjoy some huevos rancheros and me shrimp and grits with fried oysters. Heart healthy. And Maura says, Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. It was perfect because we didn't move here because Key West is like a lot of other places. We moved here because it isn't like any other place on earth. So meet your friends or make your friends at Two Friends, 512 Front Street in Old Town Key West or twofriends.com.
It's almost time. The Lower Keys Chamber of Commerce 33rd Annual Dolphin Tournament is happening June 5th, 6th, and 7th. Hook your chance at a $10,000 grand prize for the largest dolphin caught, plus cash prizes for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, awesome trophies, and extra prizes just for the youth division. Sign up before the end of May to save $50 on your registration now at lowerkeyschamber.com or call 305-872-2411. Sponsored by Lower Keys Tackle and the Monroe County Tourist Development Council.
The choice of a doctor is a personal one. The choice of your gynecologist is even more personal. Dr. George Peterson has been honored to provide trusted gynecological care for generations of women in the Florida Keys for more than 30 years. While he has retired from obstetrics, Dr. Peterson is continuing with gynecological services for existing and new patients. Dr. Peterson guides them through medical care that can be complex and confusing at times, whether it's related to conception, sexual health and wellness, infertility, or menopause. And he continues to be a trusted caregiver for circumcisions. Dr. Peterson has been alongside his patients for 3 decades to ensure that they receive needed screenings for breast, cervical, and ovarian cancer. And the practice has expanded to provide a wide range of medical aesthetic treatments. Keys Med Spa, 5450 McDonald Avenue, Stock Island. Phone number 305-293-9555. And online at keysmedspa.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. George Peterson. I'll be honored to help you with your medical needs as I have done for the last 30 years.
Keys Auto Center, the Keys hometown dealership.
Hey folks, it's Stephen Bender at Key West Chevrolet GMC Cadillac. With our huge truck and SUV inventory and our local deal match guarantee, you know you're getting the right deal without the Miami hassle. So come see the people you know, like, and trust, like George Arauz, Fernando Castillo, Randy Roberts, and Randy Swanhart at Keys Auto Center on the Boulevard or keysautocenter.com. We've got the keys.
If it's happening in the Keys, you will hear about it here. This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And it is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. June 1st, first day of hurricane season. It is here already. It seemed like it was a ways away, and now it is upon us. We're going to bring in Corey Suizzo. He is the Director of Emergency Management for Monroe County. Very busy day for you, Corey. Thanks for being here.
Nope. Thanks for having me. Always look forward to your show.
Well, thank you. Likewise, looking forward to having you here. So we've got a lot going on 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 your plate, that's for sure. First day of hurricane season always keeps things busy, but just to make sure, right up to the start of the season, that we are fully prepared, the county had a full blown exercise regarding hurricane preparedness, is my understanding. So walk us through that.
Yeah, this exercise, pretty much as soon as the season ends in November, we immediately we take about a 2 week breather, and we immediately start the planning phase of this hurricane exercise. And one of my focal points was we're really good at exercising wind threats and wind damage, and I really wanted to exercise what would look like if we had a Wilma type storm surge. So we took a look, had a great scenario developed by our National Weather Service partners, John Rizzo, down in Key West, and he developed a scenario that we had about anywhere between 4 to, I would say, 10 feet of storm surge from Key West all the way to Key Largo, and we had about 80 or so participants throughout the county, some state, federal, and our local partners. And what a great exercise. I mean, one of the big things that we take out of this is sometimes we get a very broad picture of what we want to accomplish, but then we go into some smaller meetings. We call them tactics meetings and operations meetings, and they take my objectives and say, okay, now how do we accomplish these objectives? And we learned a lot. We identified some gaps in our issues, and when we bring everybody together, we really focus on how is this realistic. And one of the items was, we want to establish, staging areas, and how do we get logistics in right away? Well, if we have a catastrophic storm surge, we can't wait until the storm happens and then position those assets. So we really took a hard look of where north of the Florida Keys and Homestead and Florida City and Miami-Dade, can we pre-stage personnel and equipment so that we can quickly establish these sites? And I think we learned a lot of what we can do a little bit easier, work a little bit more efficiently and effectively. An overall outstanding success for this exercise this year.
Well, pre-positioning assets prior to an event really must be an imperative to making sure that we are ready to respond to that, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Wilma. I mean, we lost dozens of emergency vehicles due to flooding, and we need to be able to stay ahead of that type of threat. And we need those vehicles, we need those resources and services as soon as that storm passes. So, we definitely learned a lot. And if everyone didn't know, we're in a flood zone, and if we're going to have any type of flooding, everybody's going to feel that. And I really want to stress storm surge. We've talked about this over the past several months. I mean, storm surge is our biggest threat. You can't run from this water. Yes, you could have an elevated home, but this water comes in violently, and anything that's not secured or can float. I mean, we even saw in Irma, people's vehicles, parked underneath their vehicles, floating into the pillars. I was at one home where somebody's refrigerator actually went through the floor that was above that refrigerator under the house due to that storm surge. So as quickly as it comes in, it's going to leave just as violently and quickly.
Yeah, well, we keep talking about storm surge, and wind is one factor, but the water is something that we need to continue to impress upon people is so destructive. And as you mentioned, you saw that during Hurricane Irma, serving as emergency manager at NAS Key West during that time. So you are no stranger to what a storm can do.
Yeah, and we worked a lot this off season with Florida International University. They're doing a lot of studies on winds and winds on elevated structures. And we have this sense of security that I have an elevated home and we have better building codes, but upwards to about 76% of all elevated structures will incur some sort of damage in a hurricane type event. So, what they're really taking a close look at is how can we improve those elevated structures all the way down to the columns that elevate your home. And they found that the square columns in your home actually are less effective than round columns. But aesthetically, people like the square columns. They look, better. But they've done a fantastic job. And we visited the wall of wind up there. And here in the next several years, they're going to incorporate the wall of wind with a surge type wave pool to show what types of surge and wave action, what we might see during a hurricane and a wind event also. So really great improvements coming our way.
Well, preparedness obviously is the watchword. It is most important, and you all at Emergency Management have been working on preparedness nonstop, but the season is definitely here. Corey Suizo, he is the director of Monroe County Emergency Management on Good Morning Keys. Communication is also imperative, not only within agencies, but interagency and among the agencies. That communication and those channels need to remain open and vibrant. And there is a symposium today. Public information officers from around the county will gather just to make sure that everybody is on the same page and that we are ready for any eventuality.
Yeah, no, transparency is the key to communication. And if I know something and I can provide that information as quickly as possible, we're going to do that as soon as I possibly can. And what better way can we do it with our media partners? Kristen Livingood does an outstanding job for Monroe County. And when we have a storm approaching, she'll establish our Joint Information Center, which is our JIC, and it's comprised of other PIOs from around the county and other agencies. And they are there to focus that constant message to the public. And one of the biggest concerns that we have, and we already see it today, is rumor control. Already, we here in Monroe County and across the nation love to look at forecast models, and I want to caution everybody. Things change every 6 hours, these models. So when you've taken a look at a model that may look a little bit concerning 2 weeks from now, just take a look at it again in 6 hours. It's probably going to change. So, really stay towards your National Hurricane Center sources. I would try to stay off Facebook and Instagram unless it's a trusted source. There's a lot of AI generated information that gets put out there, and all it does is create unnecessary fear, and it distracts us from our mission here. But we do have an established group of people that will monitor those types of posts, and we'll try to push out and squash those rumors as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I was amazed, Corey, when I toured the Emergency Operations Center, which is a fabulous structure in Monroe County now. But there is a rumor control, like war room almost, that gets activated during an event. And social media, boy, I tell you, it can be a good thing, but it can be such a harmful thing as well, where anybody has a platform to put out any information they may want. And some people grab onto that and take it as truth.
Yeah, when we saw it during Hurricane Milton, we saw some fake storms. Someone actually created Hurricane Nadine off of our east coast in the Atlantic while Milton was approaching the west coast of Florida. And we received dozens of calls asking, "Are you going to issue evacuation?" And what it does is cause people to do something unnecessary and puts them in harm. If we would start evacuating people north, you're now approaching a pretty catastrophic storm. So, we will push out that information as quickly as we can. We'll squash as much rumors as we can, but it is destructive in our planning process.
Well, having you on the air directly, as we do on a regular basis, hopefully gets the direct and proper and correct information to the public, and we will continue to do that whenever it's necessary. It's Corey Suizo. He is the director of Monroe County Emergency Management on Good Morning Keys. Well, Corey, on the 1st of June, here it is. You were already looking at some modeling, though, some forecasts, et cetera. So, we've heard some reports about we might be in for an easier than typical season, but no one can really rely on that either. Complacency is our enemy. How are we looking on the 1st of June? You said maybe there's some Saharan dust and some other factors that could come to play here.
Yeah, today is the day I live in 7-day windows. So in the next 7 days, you're all looking very good, and you're all if you want to enjoy some beautiful sunsets, we are tracking. I'm looking at it right now. Some Sahara dust that is making its way across the Atlantic right now, and if you're down there in Key West and you're looking at one of those beautiful sunsets, you might see a different shade of sunset with some of that dust in the atmosphere. But we definitely it's a double-edged sword. I enjoy the dust because it definitely dries out that upper atmosphere, which is one factor in creating hurricanes. But it does cause some nuisance with your vehicles and some haziness out there. But everything is looking really good. But that water temperature is creeping up there. I spent some time on the water this weekend, and that water temperature is already about 45 degrees, and so it's definitely warm enough to create some turbulent weather if that were to happen. But even just, I want everybody to be prepared. I know that we've heard a lot about El Nino and that we should have less storms and less major storms. It only takes one. And if you think back to 2004, that was a strong El Nino year. And I think there was about a month straight where we had storms approaching our Florida coast. Then also Hurricane Andrew was an El Nino year. And it only takes one catastrophic storm to make it an impactful season.
Well, thank you for that update. We'll continue to provide updates throughout the season and whenever necessary, as mentioned. Corey Swizzo, he's the director, Monroe County Emergency Management on Good Morning Keys. And Corey, you've got a super busy day. I really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us again today and get correct information out. We also want to take an opportunity again to thank you for your valiant service to our country as a proud U.S. Navy veteran and all your background that is so impressive and humbling when I'm in your presence, I must say. And thank you also for helping us clarify some of those rumors about the Cuban invasion that did not occur. And we appreciate your perspective and, again, getting the correct information out to the public in that instance as well.
Not a problem at all. I'm here whenever you need me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. We will see you soon, sir.
You too. Have a great week.
Take care. Corey Swizzo, he is the director, Monroe County Emergency Management, with us on Good Morning Keys on June 1st, start of hurricane season. So we'll continue to keep you updated. Always have breaking news as soon as it happens. Weather around the clock. It is all here on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Good Morning Keys returns in a moment.
Do you want a reliable, fast, and convenient way to travel between the mainland and the Keys? The Dade Monroe Express is your solution. Service runs early morning through late evening, 7 days a week. Whether you're commuting or just visiting, Dade Monroe Express has got you covered. And the best part? You can try it for free. Visit trytransitfree.com and select Dade Monroe Express. Don't wait. Discover a stress-free way to travel to and from the Keys. The Dade Monroe Express is operated by Miami-Dade Transit.
Key West authentic Irish pub, dining, and rooftop lounge is Celtic Conch Public House, 528 Front Street. The Celtic Conch always features delicious Irish cuisine and tasty pub grub with more than 40 Irish whiskeys, specialty cocktails, and local drafts. Ask about their daily food specials, including kids 12 and under eat free on Wednesdays when ordering from the kids menu with adult purchase of at least $25. Limit 2 children per adult, dine in only. Plus, the best in live entertainment. Monday, it's Milo from 5 to 8. Tuesday, test your knowledge with trivia from 7 to 9. Wednesday features Just George from 8 to 11. Thursday, Milo performs live from 4 to 7. Friday, Milo returns from 8 to 11. Saturday, come back for Just George and Joey from 8 to 11. Then Sunday, Tony Roberts plays live from 3 to 6. Celtic Conch Public House, 528 Front Street, Key West. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Sláinte.
Keys Energy Services rebate program can help to reduce your energy bill. Keys offers rebates for 14 qualified energy-efficient items ranging from $25 to $450. The program also includes an electric vehicle charger rebate for up to $400. Customers looking for more information on the rebate program, a complete listing of qualified items, and information on how to apply should log on to keysenergy.com. At Keys Energy, we're growing greener every day. Here's your chance to join us and put some green back in your wallet.
The voice of Monroe County, yours. This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And Good Morning Keys, Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. It is June 1st, and we are going to say good morning to Christian Griffith with Right Size Resources, your partner in building the best workforce management solution for your company. Good morning, Chris. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Blessed and highly favored.
There you go, as it should be. Well, great to hear from you again. So Right Size Resources helping us understand workforce management and also a lot of issues that affect our workforces and our workplaces as well. Lots of businesses, business owners, those running businesses really don't have the time to keep up on current events that affect their workplace each and every day. And something you had mentioned before we go on the air that actually has been occurring a lot, even I've seen it come across my desk quite often. The BOI, do I have it right? Beneficial?
Yes, beneficial ownership information.
Yeah, we talked about this just a little bit, and for a while it was a thing with a deadline.
Right.
But we continue to get emails and solicitations saying, hey, you have to sign up and register, et cetera. Not the case, right?
Yeah, be very careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you research it. If you get a link, don't just click on it, fill it out, and especially if it asks for money. It's first of all, it's a free thing. But a year and a half ago, the administration required that businesses who are United States businesses fill out this form so they could determine the ownership of those ownership trees of those companies to see who is who. And it was determined that we did not need to do it. And it was nixed about a year in March of 2025. And nobody is required to do it. I think you can do it if you want to. It still exists. But even if you go to the website, you'll see it says you don't need to do it. And there are still tons of emails coming and flooding scaring people into thinking they have to do it. It's the same emails that you get every year. You do have to re-register your business and pay a fee in the state of Florida. And if you don't do it before May 1st, you have to pay like a big penalty, $450 per company that's not registered by May 1st if you do it on April 30th. And so there are also companies that take advantage of you there.
Yes. Yeah.
Knowing you have to do it, they send you these, don't forget your corporation forms to fill out. And sometimes you click on them and then you're paying another company to do it. And you're paying money that you don't need to be paying when you can go directly to the Florida Department of Corporations and fill it out. Mm-hmm. But the BOI is not a thing. You do not have to fill it out. So if you're getting a ton of emails flooding it, be completely aware that you can erase them.
Yeah, and now if you already did register your business under BOI, that still just kind of remains, but it's, as you said, it's not mandatory. But
it's not mandatory.
So is that system still active with the government then, et cetera, even though it's not required?
The database still exists.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with it, but I know that it's not required. And again, I think the issue is lots of people like to take advantage of lots of situations, and I think that's what's going on. So just be wary if you're getting a bunch of emails from the BOI or beneficial ownership information requests that you don't have to be providing that information.
Yeah.
It could be just a form of phishing to get your data.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Right Size Resources here to help you sort out a lot of business issues that can affect your company, and also helping you to save money. And the BOI thing is another cautionary tale as to how you could unnecessarily save money and even be scammed. But workforce management is very important. And again, Right Size Resources helps you with all of those. It starts with a consultation of how you are operating your workforce management, a very easy and streamlined process whereby Right Size Resources can predict how much money you can be saving if you were to work through them.
That's correct. Our sole function is to just make sure that you got the correct resources. You're not overpaying or paying for something you don't need to help manage payroll, workers' comp, benefits, those things. And there's lots of organizations that have designed ways to make you think you're getting a whole bunch more than you are, because not giving you just what you need at the price that you need it, which is kind of important right now as we watch the news and we see businesses no longer going to be here. Like it was just announced that Glazed Donuts, unfortunately, will no longer be in business here in Key West. I
Oh,
think you
no.
probably knew that.
Oh,
but,
you were a pretty strong patron of them, were you not?
I love that. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Great story. Yep, the owner's from Kansas City. He owned companies up there, and his goal was to open this place. He did. I mean, it's some of the best donuts. Honestly, I'm not a donut person. I mean, I listen. I don't put those kind of calories in my body if they're not worth it. And glazed donuts was some of the best donuts I've had anywhere, anytime, and I would get one every time. Can. And I'm so sad to see them go, because that is something that everybody on the island loves.
Well, again, for businesses, there's so many challenges, pitfalls that occur each and every day, and Right Size Resources really does stay on top of helping businesses navigate all of those waters as well. We did pass the deadline for tax preparation and tax filing, unless, of course, you do have an extension, and we had talked about it before, but the tax reductions on tips, et cetera, all of those are, ongoing issues that people need to be aware of.
Yes, that is correct. And you need to be classifying your tips correctly.
Yeah.
What is supposed to be happening is all tips that are paid to an employee that are necessary for their employment. In other words, there are categories of employment where tips are the primary source of income, and that can range anywhere from waiters, waitresses to, honestly, these guys on the boats are tipped and calculated and submitted correctly to the IRS. You pay taxes on your tips, but if the tips are not voluntary, in other words, you go into a restaurant and they say, "Oh, parties over 6, we have an automatic gratuity of 18%." That's not a voluntary tip. Are categorized differently, and those are not eligible for the tip credit reduction at the end of the year. But most people didn't realize, I think, that they were even getting it, because it was just simply supplied on their W-2. So a lot of people this year are like, I couldn't believe how much money they got back. Well, that's part of the reason, is they got money back because the administration put the tip credit together for them. So that's a nice thing. But companies need to make sure they know what they're doing and putting it in properly. There might be an audit in the future, and if you're putting unqualified tips for that reduction, it's going to potentially affect your employees at some point in time negatively.
Indeed. Well, again, Christian Griffith with us, Right Size Resources, rsrsave.com online, or rightsizeresources.com. And, just to give us a quick update then also on the Visitor Center. You are so committed to our community and helping businesses and individuals in our community. The handicap ramp at the Visitor Center in Big Pine, how are we doing as far as the completion of that project?
Well, we're still just have to raise an additional about $2,000. If anybody that's driving by, they can see it. All the trees have been cut away, and you can see the beautiful construction right there. It literally just needs about $2,000 of materials. We have Justin Snath, who owns Ichabod Crane, who has generously given his time and his crew's time to physically put that together at no charge to anybody. So great guy and great company. Just throwing that out there for everybody. Again, the kind of person that's going to help someone else in the community at no charge. And if we can just get people to go to cffk.org/access and donate $25, $50, or whatever they can. We just need to raise an additional $2,000. We're down to the end of the race. We're running a marathon here, and we're at 26 miles. We just have 0.2 to go, and literally once that's done, they'll come and bless it, from the county and open it up, and hopefully that'll increase traffic.
Very good. Well, thank you for that commitment, and again, giving back to our community and individuals and businesses in our community. Christian Griffith, Right Size Resources, rsrsave.com online. Go there to fill out a very easy, straightforward, brief form to find out how much money your business can save, like thousands of other businesses here in the Keys and in Florida who have saved through Right Size Resources. Well, Chris, with that, we will let you get on to a very busy day, and we thank you so much for being here this morning, sir.
Yeah, bless everybody. Have a great day. Good to talk to you.
Likewise, thank you.
Tell your beautiful wife we said hello,
Same
and
here.
hope everybody has a great day today, and make it a great day.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Chris. You have a wonderful day yourself. We'll talk soon.
You too.
Okay.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye now. It is Right Size Resources, rsrsave.com, online on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We return in a moment.
The Greenhouse. Have you been there yet? We even spell it with 3 E's to help you smile when you say it. That's our goal. We carry the largest selection of hemp-derived THC and CBD products in Monroe County. If you've been taking medication for anxiety, depression, inflammation, lack of sleep, or muscle and joint pain, and it's just not working, or you don't like the side effects, we can help. If you're looking to chill, relax, escape, focus, or even break out into euphoric fits of laughter, we can help there too. No medical card is needed. You just have to be 21 or over. Our 3 locations are open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. In Key West, we're at 431 Front Street, just in front of Mallory Square. In Marathon, you can find us at mile marker 52 at 10875 Overseas Highway. In Key Largo, we're at 99304 Overseas Highway in the middle of the road. Swing on by, share your goals with us, and we'll recommend a product to help you reach them. And we back our recommendations with a 100% money-back guarantee. The Greenhouse. Stop on by and find out what the buzz is all about today.
Visit one of the 12 locations of the Greenhouse, including 9 in the Keys and featuring their newest store at 3128 North Roosevelt, Key West. Neptune Atlantic Boat Lifts and Barge is your proven expert in boat lifts, service, parts, or construction throughout the entire Keys, with locations in Tavernier and in Marathon. Hurricane season is almost here, and we all know what a disaster a hurricane is. Protect yourself against a hurricane with tie-down service from Neptune Atlantic Boat Lifts. They can custom manufacture your next aluminum lift for any sized boat or yacht. Many Neptune Atlantic Boat Lifts feature a custom gearbox with variable speed option. They also build docks and cargo elevators and install pilings with their barge service. Neptune Atlantic Boat Lifts and Barge is part of the Waterfront Brands Group, which includes Shoremaster, Hydro Hoist, and Tide Tamer, and their full line of parts and service appointments are convenient for all of the Keys. With their location in Marathon at Town Square Mall, 11400 Overseas Highway Suite 211, and their main showroom at 94401 Overseas Highway Tavernier. Have trouble getting on and off your boat? Neptune Atlantic Boat Lifts offers a full line of custom boarding platforms and catwalks. Call for a quote or visit NeptuneAtlanticBoatLifts.com.
Your home is your castle, your sanctuary. Rack Advanced Control brings together the electrical and smart technology that make your home comfortable, secure, and effortless to live in. Imagine music flowing seamlessly through every room, beautiful lighting that adjusts to your lifestyle, motorized shades, climate control, and energy management all working together automatically. From integrated audio and video systems to discrete security cameras and professional electrical services, Rack Advanced Control designs and installs technology that works in perfect harmony. Originally founded in California, Rack Advanced Control has over 20 years of experience serving the luxury residential market and was honored as a 2024 Lutron Excellence Award Integrator. Now with an office in Key West, Florida, Rack brings world-class smart home design and electrical expertise to the Florida Keys. Make your home smarter, safer, and more enjoyable to live in. Call 786-647-9647 or visit rackav.com. Rack Advanced Control. Intelligent luxury, expertly installed.
Good morning, Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Good morning to you. A busy June 1st as we say good morning to Sheriff Rick Ramsey, Sheriff of Monroe County. Good morning, sir.
Hey, morning, Michael. Morning to your listeners.
Yes, so we had a busy week in law enforcement this past week and a couple of unfortunate stories that we will get to here as well, leading off with the fact that a 62-year-old man from Germany unfortunately died just the other day after being pulled from the water unconscious. He was snorkeling off of Key Largo and unresponsive in the water about 1:30 p.m. and was unable to be revived at that point after CPR being administered. So yet again, another snorkeling accident. They do happen here, but it's always unfortunate.
You know it is, and it seems like there's a lot, which one is too much. But you think about the number of people that are in the waters, the number of snorkel boat trips that go out. And a lot of these people are maybe a little bit older, maybe not in good shape. In the water, you can get panicked very easy. You can gulp a little bit of salt water and really get freaked out. So it's not uncommon for people to have, heart attack, or stroke, maybe saltwater drowning. So it is difficult, but yeah, this is a 60-year-old male on vacation from Germany, Key Largo, out on a reputable dive boat, snorkel boat. They're out snorkeling with beautiful conditions, no issues with the conditions. And after about 10 minutes in the water, they noticed that he was face down, not moving. Crew members went out to him, found him non-responsive. Rescue swam him back to the boat. They immediately started CPR, contacted 911, had Coast Guard en route, had 911 services on standby. They rushed him in, but unfortunately, he succumbed to the drowning and was pronounced deceased upon arrival at the shoreline. So sad. I believe there was a family member with him, so notification was done quickly by a member on scene, which is so traumatic as it is to have a loss of a life, let alone see someone, unconscious, unresponsive, CPR being done. That really just makes it that much more horrific situation to witness it, but sad situation for sure.
Yeah. Well, Sheriff, something else, and luckily, again, we don't have that many deaths to report, whether it's in the water or otherwise, but also we have another death to report as a result of a murder charge. Cudjoe Key, Florida man arrested last week for murder in the death of his wife, 62-year-old Lynn Elaine Shattuck. She was found unconscious on a hallway floor with injuries to the face, head, and hands at approximately 5:51 a.m. Sheriff's office notified. Apparently, her husband went to a neighbor's residence wrapped in a blanket or towel, otherwise naked, asked them to call 911. And then, of course, deputies arrived promptly thereafter, and murder charges are ensuing as a result.
Mike, I've talked to you and your listeners over the years, and I always tell you, every 2 to 3 years, there's going to be a murder in Monroe County. Yeah. But when it happens, it's going to be domestic-related, drug-related, or homeless-related. Yes. None of which are okay, but these are not random acts of someone being, attacked at their home by a stranger. This was a domestic matter. This was a married couple, been married for a period of time. These were middle-aged persons, late 50s, 60s, thereabouts. So we're living down in the Cudjoe Key area, a nice community neighborhood. Both were employed. The victim was a nurse. The male was an entertainer. So at some point in time, we can't get into too much details to the ongoing investigation, but they had gone out to dinner and drinks earlier, went back home, and then there's a period of time at the house where it appears to be that there was a violent altercation inside the residence. At some point in time, as you indicated, the male left the residence to a neighbor's, wrapped in a towel only, and had told the neighbor to call 911. Didn't get into what or why. We arrived. We went inside. We noticed a violent crime scene. We noticed the victim, who was in dire straits, was unconscious and agonal breathing. We had our friends in fire rescue respond immediately. She was critical, brought to Lower Keys Medical, where a couple hours later she expired. This was a crime scene, so once we took care of the victim, we exited out of the home to secure it, to get a warrant, search warrant, to continue the criminal investigation inside. So after getting a search warrant signed, we did do a search of the home, collecting evidence, photography, video of the evidence crime scene. The male was not very cooperative, but at the point we believe we have probable cause that he committed the crime, and we did arrest him for a murder charge. So he's in MCJ on a charge of murder. This will be an ongoing criminal investigation. There's a lot of work to these type of cases, a lot of forensic work, lab work, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Medical examiner is an integral part, obviously, to determine cause and to work with the sheriff's office on blunt force trauma, determining what that instrument of brutality may have been. And again, trying to come to the ultimate conclusion of what caused the ultimate loss of life. So our partner at the medical examiner is so critical in these investigations. but this will be a joint cooperative effort between the medical examiner, sheriff's office, state attorney's office, FDLE crime lab. A lot of people are going to come together to make sure we have a good, solid, strong case, and we can hold this person accountable for this violent act. And just sad situation. I went to the scene myself. Something serious like this, I'm always going to, if I'm able to, respond to the scene. I was there, my colonel was there, my district captain, lieutenant. So this is such an unusual anomaly and such an important matter that our top command staff is on scene to make sure that we're being briefed and given direction as need be, and making sure we can do the best we can for the victim.
Yes, indeed. Sheriff Rick Ramsey with us, Sheriff of Monroe County. Another unfortunate story to be related, but again, your department quickly responding and providing the leadership and direction going forward to make sure that everything is handled exactly and properly as well. Well, a couple of cases that are a little more common these days, but again, dealt with swiftly and promptly by the Sheriff's Department. Drug and ammunition cases. A Florida woman from Miami, as a matter of fact, extensive criminal history. She was arrested for drug and ammunition possession following a traffic stop, again, netting further discovery and further convictions. This woman convicted as a convicted felon in possession of ammunition, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of marijuana as well, and she is now in jail as a result.
Well, so many of these calls we keep telling you are somehow traffic related. The number one call we get is traffic. So not uncommon on these traffic stops to come across, warrants and drugs and other related stuff here. But, this is the case of a woman down here, which appears to be more than personal use. Appears to be someone who's trying to sell drugs in the Keys. And we're not going to tolerate that. So, it's good by our officers to be proactive to deal with these cases, get these people off the streets. But we're talking, guns and ammunition and drugs especially. Those are really, really important issues to us to get off the Keys. So we're always happy with my officers. They're doing a good job on these type of cases. And these are difficult, challenging days on the road to patrol all the time.
Yeah, there are. And again, another traffic stop netting a significant amount of drugs, which appears to be with intent to sell. A woman, actually, she's from Islamorada. She has a warrant for multiple drug-related offenses. She was arrested in a traffic stop, 9.3 grams of methamphetamine, intent to sell, possession of 40 Suboxone strips without a prescription, providing law enforcement with a fake name as well. And that traffic stop netted her a stay in jail.
Yeah, that's a lot of drugs to have on one person. Clearly not a personal use. Clearly this is a drug dealer, and some of the more violent drugs that she's in possession that can do more likely to kill person or persons. So we're always concerned about drug dealing as it is, but especially when we're dealing with drugs that are so, we deal with fentanyl, we deal with methamphetamines, we deal with some of those really more violent drugs that can do such damage. Those are that much more important to us. So again, it's not just males. We think drug dealers, we think a lot of time men, but we're seeing more last year or two. I've seen more and more women that seem to be using and dealing drugs. Historically, it's been more of a male predominant, crime, but we have seen an uptick of women who are dealing drugs. And again, what you just said earlier is true, is that most time we talk about these, they're coming from Miami-Dade County. Most of our drug dealers that come to the county derive out of Miami. They come to the Keys to sling drugs. People think that sometimes the drugs are come in by boat and then are dispersed here. The reality is when you have drug smuggling, the kilos are generally almost always taken to Miami-Dade County, and then they're broken up and turned into street-level drugs and then brought back down. So we see most of our drugs that are in the Keys do come from Miami-Dade County, and most of our drug dealers that we do arrest are Miami-Dade County residents who are dealing drugs in Dade, but also are dealing drugs in Monroe. Mm-hmm. And we continue to try to send that strong message. I talk to you every week, your listeners, about you're more likely to get caught, arrested, prosecuted here, and the penalties are going to be more severe in Monroe than they generally are in Dade. And we're trying to keep sending a message that this is not the place to commit crimes. And if you do, you are going to pay the price, ultimately. And This person's in MCJ, is going to be held accountable by our state attorney, and is going to spend time here in our jail if she doesn't wind off in prison. But we're not going to tolerate this this type of activity here in Monroe.
Yeah, and one other type of activity that is not tolerated here is threatening law enforcement officials. We had a man from Key West called 911 multiple times about a week ago, profanely complaining about law enforcement, threatened to kill officers. He was subsequently arrested, charged with threatening to kill law enforcement officers, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting arrest, disorderly intoxication, misuse of 911, and disrespect and truly threatening law enforcement is not tolerated.
Yeah, this was a 33-year-old male, like you said, out of Key West, who misused 911, had called our 911 dispatch center to go on a rant about how much he hated cops, and cops sucked and were scum, and just going off left and right, and clearly was not a 911 emergency. Phone was disconnected some period of time. He contacted 911 again, long rant, threatening officers and having just nothing but bad things to say. We were able to eventually track down the phone and identify who the person was and where they were at. We went out with that person, and the person was intoxicated, was violent, continued the rant of threats, immediately became aggressive with the officers. This person was ultimately charged with resisting arrest with violence, disorderly intoxication, making threats to kill police officers. So he was booked in the jail on multiple felony charges. And this is Corey Dennis, 33-year-old male out of Key West, battery on law enforcement officer, misuse of 911. So he had a lot of charges here that we are holding him accountable for. And, it's just continues to show you how difficult and challenging this job can be, and some of the stuff that some of the crap that our officers have to put up with. It's a tough, challenging job. It's not for everybody. And we say they don't do it to get rich. They do it because they want to make this community the best it can be. And with that comes dealing with a lot of crap heads.
Well, and we are always indebted to law enforcement for protecting us and our way of life here and putting up with all that crap, as you've said. It's pretty thankless many times, but we want to thank them for it. And then finally, we did have a second death, a snorkeling-related incident. That also happening last week near Mule Key off Key West. A commercial diving company reported in at 1:30 p.m. approximately an unresponsive female in the water. CPR began immediately. So unfortunately, a couple of deaths within the past week or so. To report, foul play does not appear to be the factor in the incident. Autopsy results are pending of this 63-year-old woman from Madison, Mississippi.
Yeah, this is sad. Down on vacation, 63-year-old female, down with family on a reputable snorkel boat, down off of Mule Key. Weather conditions were favorable. Again, was in the water. At some point in time, was face down, was brought on board the boat. 911 services were contacted. Coast Guard or friends, responded. CPR was administered right away. This person did not make it. This person has a history of cardiac events. Her treating physician did sign off on this being a cardiac event, that this was a person had a strong medical history, which at that point in time, if you have a cardiac history and you're 63 years old and are not in the ward on a regular basis, sometimes it's maybe not the best decision, but we can't go back now. Unfortunately, this person did not make it. Again, signed off by a doctor as a cardiac event in the water, which we say snorkeling itself, let alone scuba diving, even snorkeling can be a very stressful event for a lot of people. So it's not for everybody. It has to be based on your health, your abilities. And, it's just, it's sad again. And we see the numbers, but we keep saying there are literally there's just tens of thousands of people that snorkel here in the Keys every year. We shouldn't be surprised that every now and then someone doesn't make it, whether it be a snorkeling or even scuba diving.
Yes.
These are stressful situations.
Yes, it is. Well, the Sheriff's Department is there to respond and help those in need, and sometimes nothing can be done to prevent someone from passing away from from those incidents. But we'll end on a positive note, too, though. We talked about some of the crap, as we said, that law enforcement has to go through in order to serve us and our community. But also there are individuals and businesses who do show their appreciation, one being Driftwood Pizza in Marathon, certificate of appreciation for their continued support. The Sheriff's Office and local law enforcement was presented personally by you last week. So we want to thank them, one of the many businesses who do support the Sheriff's Office as well.
You know, we're so honored and blessed to have the community to support us the way they would do. You know, we talk about in your show so much how important it is to have these relationships and partnerships, not only internal, but external. This is no different. This is part of our Citizens Police Academy. We had a few sponsors, Key West Cakes. You know, we had Driftwood Pizza, City of Marathon. You know, so we have people that want to come out and want to be part of something so good. So Driftwood Pizza did donate the cakes for the pizzas for the graduation that night. So it's important to me to go out and identify and acknowledge these people and shake their hand and thank them personally and give them a certificate. Tony, the owner of Driftwood Pizza, he was like, you don't have to be here. This is we always support you, whatever you guys need. I said, nope, this is important, you know, to come out and make sure you know that we truly appreciate you and what you do and how much you do for this community and the Sheriff's Office. Those personal contacts are so important at all levels that I wanted to come out and acknowledge and take that picture and thank them for everything. So that's my hats off to Driftwood Pizza, Tony and his crew there again for being part of something so good. And next week we're going to talk about Key West Cake. We're going to be going out this week and seeing them, giving them a certificate too as well. They're moving up there by GFS. So I couldn't meet with them last week, but we'll be talking next week on your show about them.
Yes. Well, thank you for all the positive things that you do to thank our community as well and our businesses in it for supporting the Sheriff's Office. Well, Sheriff, I kept you pretty long here today. You've been most generous with your time. Anything else we should mention before we let you go, sir?
No, I just want to thank you as well. Every week you do a lot to help promote the sheriff and the Sheriff's Office. And again, this goes part of our relationship and partnerships externally as well. So I thank you again every week for being such a good friend and giving us the opportunity to talk to your listeners and talk about the good stuff and the interesting stuff which occurs here in law enforcement. And so thank you for the platform and your friendship.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you for your friendship and your service. I'm very humbled by all of that. And you have a very good and safe week. We'll talk very soon, sir.
Thank you, Michael. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Sheriff Rick Ramsey with us, Sheriff of Monroe County, Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We're going to get to the rest of the day's events here promptly, as well as bring you breaking news as soon as it happens, local, state, national news, at least every half hour. We also have some live coverage from the state capitol as they deliberate property tax reform. Drew Steele will be coming in live from the capitol here in this afternoon's show on Florida's Voice as well. And weather around the clock. Increasingly important to keep in tune with the weather and ever-changing conditions as we enter hurricane season. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Thank you for listening.